Back again for Journal Journey writing prompt number 66. Before we get started, if you haven't, please check out Flintlocked. It is the comic book that I co-wrote and co-created. It is available on Amazon. Just search Flintlocked. I would really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and dive into the writing prompt from 300 More Writing Prompts, which is, if you were to create a TV sitcom about your life, any period, why would it be, or what would it be called? Any point in my life, um, I'm only 28 years old. Hopefully, still a lot left of the story, but I think the time period I would choose to write a sitcom about my life would be probably between 2017 and now. 2016, late 2016 to now. Um, I think the reason why is because that's when I was going through my marriage falling apart and my divorce, which, this is a sitcom, it's supposed to be comedy. But I love dark comedy, and also it's when I was writing, producing, and then eventually put on my play, How Does It Make You Feel? Which you can find on this channel. How Does It Make You Feel? Full play. Yeah, also dark comedy. Um, I think that there's a lot of moments that you could use in a sitcom. If I were to write it, obviously I prefer not writing characters about me at all. Prefer creating characters, not adapting them from something that's already been made or from say source material or whatever. I prefer just creating my own original characters, but for the sake of this journal entry, yeah, I think that you could show both my marriage falling apart. I'm sure you could find some comedy there because it wasn't that great to begin with. With me bringing the play together, I worked in banking, so I'm sure you could find comedic moments with me working at the bank with all the idiotic customers I had to deal with. And then eventually having to move back in with my parents for a little while, save some money, and then eventually building myself back up to move back to Chicago from the suburbs. But yeah, I think that's like the time period where I think I've done the most growth the last 3.5 years. It's when I started going to therapy, and then ironically, eventually wrote the dark comedy play that has a lot to do with therapy called "How Does It Make You Feel?" So for the lack of a better title, just because I love the title, and I didn't even come up with the title, so I'm not just tooting my own horn. The guy who was originally supposed to direct it actually came up with the title "How Does It Make You Feel?" I was going to call it "Suicide Party," which probably would have been way harder to market. But yeah, I don't know. I think "How Does It Make You Feel" would be fitting because it would be a time period where I was working on it, also a time period where I was working on myself in therapy, and there's a lot of dark comedy both in my writing as well as like just things happening in my life. Yeah, so I think that's a time period where there's probably like the most happening. Otherwise, growing up, I had a pretty basic childhood. I'm sure I could write a family sitcom about like my parents and such, but I think if it had to be about me, that time period would be more fruitful for content. But that's my answer. What are your answers? What time in your life you would make a TV show of it, and what would you call it? Comment below and let me know.